Welcome to another video. In this video, we will learn how to divide decimals by whole numbers. So we have division of decimals by whole numbers. And the first question you have here is 5.5 divided by 5. The first step is to have what we call a division house. So we call this division house. That's where we place our dividend. Okay, before we proceed, when we say we want to divide two numbers, there are three things we have to know. For example, when I say 8 divided by 4 equals 2, the number I'm dividing by is the divisor. The number I'm dividing by is the divisor. I want to divide 8 by 4. 4 is the divisor. The number I'm dividing is the dividend. The number I'm dividing is the dividend. And finally, the result is the quotient. Is the quotient. So when I say the dividend, you know what it means. When I say the divisor, what it means. When I say the quotient, you know what it means. Divisor is the number I'm dividing by. Dividend is the number I'm dividing. Why the result of division is what? Is the quotient. So let's proceed. So the first question, we have our division house. We are placing the dividend 5.5 and the divisor is 5. The divisor is 5. So we have 5.5 divided by 5. The divisor we place outside the division house, while the dividend we place in the division house. So what do we do? So 5 in 5. Now what we do is the first thing, we place the decimal points here such that it aligns with decimal points in the dividend. You can see the decimal point is here. Now place the decimal point directly above it. Have decimal points there. Yes, that's the first step. Now let's divide. Now you are starting with the number, the leftmost number. The leftmost number in the dividend. This is the dividend 5.5. What's the leftmost number there? 5. 5 here is the leftmost number. Start with the leftmost number in the dividend. 5 in 5. That's 1. So we have 1. Then 5 times 1 is 5. So we subtract. Now while dividing, we are assuming that we can see these decimal points there. While dividing, we are assuming that we can see these decimal points there. So now we are assuming that this is 55. And that's the reason you have to put decimal points here first. So that it will be in the same line with the decimal point you have below here. Because when we want to divide now, we are assuming that we can see decimal points there. So we assume that we are seeing 55. Then so 5 times 1, 5. Let's subtract 5 minus 5 is 0. Then you have 5 here. You can see you have 0, 5. Then again, now divide 5 in the 5 you have here. There's also 1. 5 divided by 5 is 1. So you have 1. 5 times 1 is 5. Subtract, so you have 0. While dividing, you have to get 0 before you stop. That means you have to continue to divide until the final answer in the dividend part is what? Is 0. Once you have 0 there, then you're done with the division. Time is the quotient for this case is what? 1.1. That's the quotient for this case. 1.1. Second number we have 22.5 divided by 3. 22.5 divided by 3. This is our division house. 22.5 divided by 3. 3 is the divisor. 20.5 is the dividend. What do we do next? What do we do next? We place our decimal point directly above the one you have here. Directly above it, decimal point. Then, doing our division, we are assuming that we can see any decimal point in this 22.5. So, we can see what's there. 225 is all we can see. Let's start to divide. I said the dividend start with the leftmost number. And that's the 2 you have here. That's the leftmost number. Then, do not take 2 digits at a time. Take 1 digit at a time. So that is 3 in 2, right? 3 in what? In the 2 you have, the first 2 you have here. So it's not possible. right? So since it's not possible, so we say we have 0. It's actually possible there, but then it will give us a decimal number. 2 divided by 3 is a decimal number, but then we do not want a decimal here. But already we are dividing a decimal, so we don't want a decimal here. So we have 0. Since 2 is smaller than 3, so we have 0. So what do we do next? Now we can now take two numbers. Since after taking the first number, which is the first 2 here, we said 3 in 2. 2 is smaller than 3, so we stop. We write 0, right? So we now say 3 in 22. After taking the first number, then there's no result. We have 0. Then we now take two numbers at a time. Now say 3 in 22. That's 7. So we say 7. 3 times 7, 21. We add 21 here. We subtract 20 minus 21, that's 1. 1 and 5. You might say, why am I not including the decimal point? Remember I said we're ignoring decimal point for now. We're ignoring decimal point. That's why I'm not putting decimal point there. Now, 3 in 15 also is what? Is 5. 5. 3 times 5, 15. Subtract 0, 0. So you can see our quotient is now 7.5. The 0 here is not significant. The answer is 7.5. The third question we have, so we are dividing 1.8 divided by 6. 1.8 divided by 6. So we set up our division house. The dividend is 1.8. The divisor is 6. So we proceed. Decimal point directly above the one you have in dividend. Decimal point. Then we proceed 6 in 1. Since 1 is less than 6, we write 0 here. Right? Then we cannot take the two numbers. 6 in 18. That's what? That's 3. So we write 3 here. Right? So 6 times 3, we have 18. Subtract 18 minus 18, we have 0. Then our quotient is 0.8. Now you will notice that for this decimal point I'm including, you can see after doing the first one, here I had what? 0. Remains in number 2. 3 in 2, we had 0. Then 3 to 2, we had 7. That's because we have what? You can see the numbers we have here. 22. Here also we have 0, 7. After that, we now move to the number after decimal point. We had it there. So the same case here also, 6 in 1, as we said 0. 6 in 18 in 3. So the 3 should come after decimal point here. Because the number we actually divided, which is 18. So we already have 8 after decimal point. So the 3 also will come after decimal point. The fourth question on the list, 0.264 divided by 4. Division house, we have the dividend there, 0.264. The divisor, we have 4. So decimal point also directly above this decimal point. So we proceed. So we are assuming what we have here is what? 264. Decimal point, we ignore it. So we are not saying 4 in 0, exactly. So we can't say 4 in 0. So we said we are ignoring decimal point. So it's not like you are saying we have 0 to 64, which is equal to what? 264. That means we are starting with 2. Decimal point is to be ignored by dividing. So if you know decimal point, what we have is 0 to 64, which is the same thing as 264. That means we are starting with 2, not 0. Exactly. Then what do we now do with the 0 we have before decimal point? We simply just place 0 here. Simply place 0 here. Simply place 0 there, and then we leave there. Now 4 in 2. What's 4 in 2? Because 2 is less than 4. We write what? We write 0. What next? Now we cannot take two numbers. 4 in 26. 4 in 26 is 4 remainder 2. 4 remainder what? 2. Because the highest multiple you can have, the highest multiple of 4 we have before 26 is 24. After 4 times 6, 24. 4 times 7, 28. So we are stopping at the highest multiple of 4 before 26. That's 24. 4 in 24, that's 6. We have 6 here. Then 4 times 6, 24. 24 should be directly below 26. No, we said 4 in 26. So when we now get 6, 4 times 6, 24. 24 should be directly below that 26. So we subtract. 26 minus 24, you have 2. Then the 4 here, take it downwards. 4. Now 4 in 24, just now 4, 4, right? So 4 times 4 also. 4 in 24 is 6, rather. 6. We now say 4 times 6, 24. 24. Subtract what you have, 0. So we can stop the division. So the quotient is now 0.066. The fifth question. 0.32 divided by 5. Set up the division house. 0.32 and divided by 5 to the divisor. So let's proceed. Decimal point also should also be here. So anytime you have 0 point, why dividing? Don't stress yourself. Just write 0 point here also. Because if the dividend is already 0 point something, then just write that 0 point. Then you cannot proceed with the numbers after the decimal point. This case is 32. So 32 now we proceed. 32. So now say 5 in 3. 3 is less than 5, so we write 0. Then we cannot take two numbers. 5 in 32. So the highest multiple of 5 you have, that is before 32 is what? Is 30. 5 times 6, 30. 5 times 7, 35. So we need the highest multiple of 5 that is less than 32. That's 30. 5 in 30 is 6. So that's how we say 6. 6 remainder 2. The remainder, we don't need the remainder. We only need the whole number part. So that's 6. Write 6. 5 times 30. 5 times 6, 30. So we have 30. We subtract. Remember I said decimal points here, we are ignoring it. That's why I'm not even saying 0.32 anymore. So I'm saying 32. Divided by 30. So we have 2. Now 5 in 2. 2 is less than 5. So what do we do in this case? In this case, where is the final stage? If you have a number that is less than the divisor, you add 0. If there is another number beside these two, for example, you have 25, then there's no need to add 0. You say 5 in 25, you proceed. But then we are at this point now, and then you have 2, a number which is less than the divisor. What do? You add 0 to it. Then 5 in 20 is 4. So you have 4. 5 times 4, 20. 20 you subtract, you have 0. And you can stop the division. What's our quotient? 0.064 is the quotient. The next number we have, the next division we have is 3.96 divided by 9. Set up the division house. 3.96, the dividend, and then the divisor is 9. Is 9. So what do we have in this case? Now we start. Decimal point also should be here. So we are saying 9 in 3. What's 9 in 3? 3 is less than 9, right? So we write 0 here. 3 is less than 9, so we write 0. So we proceed now. So we cannot take two numbers at the same time now. You cannot say 9 in 39. 9 in 39. Now the highest multiple of 9 before 39 is what? Is 36. 9 times 4, 36. 9 times 5, 9 times 4, 36. 9 times 5, 45. So we are actually using 36. 9 36 is 4. The remainder, you know the remainder. We need the whole number part. So that's 4. 9 times 4, 36. 36 directly below this. Subtract. So 3 minus 3 is 0. 9 minus 6 is 3. So you have 36. Then finally, 9 in 36 is also 4. 9 times 4, 36. 36 you subtract. So you have 0. Since you already have 0, you can stop the division. So our quotient is 0.44. Next question we have 34.5 divided by 5. 34.5 divided by 5. Set up the division house. 34.5 then divided by 5. 5 in 34. The highest multiple of 5 plus 34 is 30. So after 30, you have 35. So writing 30. 5 in 30 is 6. 6 remainder 4. The remainder, ignore the remainder. We need the whole number part. So 6. 5 times 6 is now 30. 30. Subtract. 34 minus 30, you have 4, then 5. Also remember, the decimal point in the 34.5. What are we doing? We are ignoring it. Because we already have a decimal points here. We said first thing is to place the decimal point directly above the one in the dividend, above the division house here, decimal point. So during our division, we are going to ignore decimal points in the dividend. We have 45. 5 in 45 is simply 9. 5 times 9, 45. Subtract, you have 0. You can stop the division. Our quotient is 6.9. 6.9. Next question, number 8. That is 0.096 divided by 8. Division house, the dividend 0.096 divided by 8. In this case, what do we do? We already have 0.096, right? So what do we do? See the 0 here, the 0 point, we have the 0 point. The 0 here also include the 0 there. Can you see that? Just like the other question where we had something like 0 0.2, 0 0.32. I said the 0 point, in the quotient side, put it there, 0 point. You cannot continue your division with your other numbers. This case also 0.096. What do you do first? You add the 0.0, then continue with what? The 96. Now, I said you will go with one number, the first number first. So 8 and 9 is what we'll do first, not 8, 9, 96. That's wrong. 8 and 9. 8 and 9 is just 1. It's one remainder 1. The remainder, ignore it. 8 and 9 is 1. That's the whole number. Then 8 times 1 is now 8. So you have the 8 and subtract. 9 minus 8 is 1. Then you have 6 here. 8 and 16 is 2. 8 times 2 is 16. Subtract, you have 0. You can now stop the division. The answer is 0.012. Next question, 0.016 over 2. 0.016 over 2. Set up the division house. 0.016 over 2. Here also, quite easy. Decimal point here, decimal point above it. 0, 0. So those zeros, just put it there. 0.016. In your quotient, 0.0. Move towards to 16, right? But for the 16 now, do not go directly and say 2 in 16. No. We start with 2 in 1. 2 in 1, 1 is less than 2, so we write 0 also. Remember I said anytime you have the first number in the dividend to be less than the divisor, what do you write? You write 0. You can now proceed with two numbers. You can now say 2 in 16 now. That's 8. So 2 times 8, 16, subtract. 6 minus 16 is 0. End the division. So our quotient is 0.08. 0.008 rather. 0.008 is the quotient. In the last question we have is 1.49 divided by 2. So set up the division house. 1.49 is the dividend. The divisor is 2. So 2 in 1. Decimal point first. Directly above the one in the dividend. 2 in 1. 1 is less than 2, so we write 0. Right? Then you can now go to 14. 2 in 14 is 7. 2 times 7, 14. You subtract. 14 minus 14 is 0. Then we have 9. Now 2 in 9. The highest multiple of 2 we have before 9 is what? Is 8. 2 times 4, 8. 2 times 5, 10. So we need the one that is before 9. That's 8. 2 in 8 is what? 4. 4. As for the remainder one, we do not need it. Ignore the remainder. So we need the whole number. That's that 4. Now 2 times 4 gives 8. Right? Subtract 9 minus 8, 1. Now 2 in 1. You said now that you now have 2 in 1, and 1 is less than 2, what do? You add 0 to it. You add 0 to the 1. Then 2 in 10 is now 5. 5 times 2, 10. Subtract 10 minus 10 is 0. We can now end the division. So our quotient is 0.745. Bye.